The life story of Chang and Eng Bunker is an epic example of resilience and adaptation despite a tragic beginning. Born as if under a curse, they lost their father at a young age, adding to life's already immense challenges. However, these twins not only survived, but left a remarkable legacy, giving the medical world the term Siamese Twins and establishing a record-breaking large family of 21 children. Let's delve into the extraordinary and inspiring tale of Chang and Eng, history's most famous conjoined twins. Siamese twins are identical twins who develop conjoined in the womb. Typically, a second body is integrated into a single body, with only some organs or limbs belonging to the second twin. The location and degree of their conjoinment vary depending on the division during fertilization. Always of the same sex, these twins occur in about 1 in every 200,000 live births, while the number of stillbirths is almost double this rate. Although the exact cause of this condition, which is 3 times more common in girls than boys, has not yet been proven, genetic and environmental factors are believed to play a role. Chang and Eng Bunker were born on May 11, 1811, in what was then Siam, now Thailand. Their names meant right and left in their native language. Being the children of a Chinese father and a half-Chinese, half-Malay mother, caused great outcry in the feudal society. Even the midwives refused to touch them, fearing a curse, and the king of the time issued a death warrant for the brothers. However, their mother's courage prevented the decree, and the twins managed to survive. With today's advanced medical technology, they could have been easily separated, but at that time, such facilities were limited, and their mother also opposed the separation. Despite being conjoined, Chang and Eng learned to move, run, jump, and swim. Their ability to adapt to their surroundings astonished everyone. They rode and fished with extraordinary coordination. They even enjoyed embracing and rolling downhill, which helped stretch the 10-centimeter band between them to 15 centimeters. Unfortunately, they lost their father to a cholera epidemic at a young age. This early loss forced them to start selling duck eggs to support their family from the age of 14. In 1824, they were discovered by a Scottish businessman named Robert Hunter. Hunter, recognizing the twins' potential, convinced them to come to America. However, rumors later spread that their mother had sold the twins to Hunter for $3,000. When this reached the king's ears, the twins' departure from the country was forbidden. It took Hunter 5 full years to get the twins out of Siam. Chang and Eng finally set foot in America in 1829. At the age of 17, Hunter and his American partner, Captain Abel Coffin, exhibited the twins in many theaters across America and England in the following years. This period was quite exhausting for the Chang and Eng brothers. They traveled from city to city every day, performing throughout the day with very little rest. The twins' performances changed over time. In their first shows in Boston, USA, in 1829, they merely stood on stage, demonstrated how they walked and ran, and answered questions from the audience. They were generally met with respect and were the center of attention everywhere. Only once, when Hunter wanted to take them on a tour of France, the French government rejected the request on the grounds that the children's mental health could be adversely affected. As they traveled the British Isles and learned English, their managers began to treat them differently. For example, on a ship voyage to England, Captain Coffin, who bought a first-class ticket for himself, arranged a place for the twins that was worse than even the section for the ship's crew and servants. While the twins earned $10 a month, this amount was negligible compared to what their managers earned. When they turned 21, they staged a revolution of their own, terminating their contracts. They formed their own teams and took their business further. They now spoke directly with audience, answered questions, and did so in higher-quality venue settings. As days passed, newspapers began to write not only about their shows, but also about their characters and differences. Chang, the twin on the left, was a few centimeters shorter than his brother, but had a more irritable and dominant character. Eng was quieter and more introverted and intellectually more accomplished than Chang. Despite such differences being discussed, except for a few exceptions, the twins always acted like a single body. Since they spoke very little to each other, some believed they communicated telepathically. Their 7-year show business career took a different turn when they met a doctor. The doctor advised them that they needed to rest, and the twins followed this advice. In 1839, they settled in rural North Carolina, away from public view and took up farming. They became American citizens and adopted the surname Bunker. In a surprising irony, more than 15 years after allegedly being sold into slavery by their mother, they bought their own slave plantation. After their business life, their love lives were also on the horizon. They met two sisters, Adelaide and Sarah. The first to fall in love was the more temperamental Chang. Eng, in a way, began communicating with the other sister, Sarah, out of necessity. As days passed, the couples who got to know each other decided to marry. However, the expected happened, and the girl's family opposed this decision. The townspeople saw it as a disaster. Faced with this situation, Chang and Eng, burning with love, even considered the risk of surgical intervention. They secretly traveled to Philadelphia, deciding to undergo surgery. But their sweethearts, Adelaide and Sarah, opposed this and persuaded them to change their minds at the last minute. After this incident, seeing the couple's determination, the girl's family consented to the marriage. In 1843, they married at the girl's family home. They had two separate houses built for themselves. According to legend, there was initially a single house, but the separation of the houses occurred due to the sisters' inability to get along, Eng's gambling addiction, and Chang's alcohol consumption. They would spend 3 days at each other's homes. A year after their marriage, Sarah gave birth to a daughter, followed 6 days later by Adelaide, who also had a daughter. A year later, they gave birth again, this time 8 days apart. By 1860, Adelaide had given birth to 7 children, and Sarah to 9, and none of their children were conjoined twins. Craig Glenday, editor-in-chief of World Records, states that the twins' sexual lives were never documented, but a kind of coordination was understood from the fact that the wives' births were only a few days apart. After this period, they had to return to business life due to financial difficulty. More than half of the Bunker twins' slaves were under 7 years old. These children would either grow up to be profitable or be put to work in the field. Although the press described the twins' treatment of their slaves as harsh, Chang and Eng denied these accusations. The total number of children had reached 21, and naturally, financial difficulties had arisen. It was time to return to touring. Unsurprisingly, when they returned to touring in America, the audience's perception of them was negatively affected by their slave trade and harsh treatment of their slaves. But the twins persisted, stating that they were financially distressed due to losing their slaves. They introduced themselves as old, poor men with large families. They decided to try their luck on a European tour. The European tour attempt didn't go badly. After the tours in 1870, while returning home by ship, Chang suffered a sudden stroke on his right side. This did not kill him, but severely weakened him. Eng would have to assist him in most tasks. This led to the end of their career. This end was a real end, and there was no going back. The twins had now turned into old and grumpy characters. Although they wanted to separate, doctors said it would be tantamount to murder. Upon this, they asked the doctors to perform the operation and separate the surviving brother if one of them died. The doctors agreed to this, but things would not go as they planned. The irritable Chang became very weak and feeble after his stroke. He increased his alcohol consumption and contracted bronchitis. Eng, on the other hand, was quite healthy, and his brother's health problems seemed to have no effect on him. But this didn't change anything. Things were not well for his conjoined brother after all. And yes, the brothers who gave the world the term Siamese Twins died in January 1874, 2 hours apart, in the bed they shared. Examinations revealed that Chang's death was most likely due to a blood clot in his brain. His brother Eng was thought to have died from shock or blood loss due to problems in the twins' connected circulatory system. These twins, who came into the world tragically, lived a career and married life that were difficult to achieve given their circumstances. And again, together, conjoined in the same bed, they passed away from this world. Chang and Eng's story is a testament to how resilient the human spirit can be, how a meaningful life can be built despite adversity, and the power of family bonds. Their legacy holds an important place not only in the medical world, but also in human history.